Sure, Krusty. Well, I guess, as I said, I've first came into the doof culture in Australia about 12 years ago in '97. I was, again, I was into psychedelic culture and consciousness issues, and I'd just come back from overseas from living in London, and I was really searching for the others. I'd actually stopped over in America in Berkeley, and I'd read Douglas Rushkoff's book and DMT cults around there, and I put up signs everywhere going, "Where are the others?" Couldn't find them. Against all my instincts, I defaulted, came back to Australia, and there was Terence McKenna at my first outdoor party a week later, in Trans Elements. And it was really about finding that community of people that were on the same wavelength or a similar enough wavelengths to allow a permissiveness where I could actually grow and discover myself amongst them. There's a whole idea of soul entrainment when you're around people of the same vibrational frequency. It reinforces your own vibrational frequency and you grow together, as a collective. I think there was definitely elements of that happening. And when I did discover, the Australian outdoor bush party circuit, I think something just melted within me, and it was this joy to be home, to have found the others, to have found the tribe. Well, I could do anything. As long as I wasn't hurting anyone, I could, go around half naked in inflatable gear or with the totem tennis on the dance floor, world's largest twister, as we did at one party, and we could reclaim this sense of fun. But in the fun, it was about interacting with others and activating that spark within them, where then they weren't just, really rigid on the dance floor or the party or just being, an outside culture in this culture. It was this space where my heart melted and I was totally open and I wanted to encourage and engage with others who are on that wavelength as well. And in that fun and in that self-discovery, there was a lot of growth for everyone. The whole idea of the Joseph Campbell's hero myth, it is easy to intellectualize that these days, but what he was really getting at was looking at all the mythologies of the world, which were things which we can only see. The global mythology now is embedded in Hollywood, and it's all something we passively take on board. But what he was getting at was the individual journey. And when he says the hero's journey, it's also sort of the journey of the soul. And it's about this ability to go beyond the norm, to go beyond the known, and to go out onto a space where you encounter mythical creatures or events or things that really push the boundaries of your own understanding and knowledge. And then it's about the return and coming back and integrating that and taking that back to your culture for its growth. So in a way, the hero's journey is almost like, it's almost like when little birds feed their young, from the mouth. It's like we go off and we take a little bite from the unknown or from the source or from the potential of what we can be as humans, and we come back and we feed the mainstream culture so we can keep flowing and evolving and changing.
Would you see the hero's journey being something that's lived out in the doof culture, in the doof itself?
Yeah, I think in microcosm, the doof itself provides a canvas where there's like that bell-shaped journey of like the lead up and the peak and then the come down and the end. And, in that space and time, we get to go through a microcosmic hero's journey. It's the long dark night and the build up in the dawn and then the dawn rising and the dance floor, and it's really that movement. You really moved as a soul, and as I said, there's not many places in mainstream culture where that happens. But in the doof environment, it's definitely mythic, and also it has that canvas creates a permissibility and allows and almost encourages people to draw out their inner myth, to draw out their inner hero or their inner best them they can be, or to what they want to share with the community or what bit of art they want to be. It's like it draws out, it's not about spectators, it's about participants, as you said, Krusty. And it's really about, well, what do you want to share, what art do you want to make, and what type of journey are we on? And, we're collectively on a journey with the music throughout the night and throughout the day and over the course of the festival. And it really does resonate because it's collectively and, as a tribe, it's not just about the one doof, it's about all the doofs around the globe. And it's about that tribal recognition that we are this unified tribe. We might speak different languages, but in the dance, we're one. And that journey we're on is like this collective hero's journey. And that's something which I think is really instinctive to us as individuals and is something which is hungered after by the culture. And so that's why it gets absorbed by the mainstream culture and sometimes diluted again. Well, there's a lot of things happening in a Doof environment. I think number one, it's an autonomous sort of sacred space. It's somewhere that is very unlike other spaces in the mainstream culture. If it's been sacralized, and if people have created that space with intent, the promoters or the party people, quite often it's looking at the geometries or the sacred geometries, or working with the environment that it's in, and then it's a space where people can basically be liberated. They can basically find that space where they know they can let their guard down, they can be open, they can let their heart sort of take control versus their head, and they can really go with the music. It creates that there's a space and then there's a groove, and within those two things you can travel and you can open up and you can unleash sort of all your catharsis and all the things that need to come out, and you can sort of safely dispose of that in the psychic environment of the dance floor while dancing. You don't have to go to psychotherapy or do other things. You can just really get in touch with it, get in touch with yourself, and then with the rhythm of the earth and moving on the earth, and with the group dynamic. It's really about bonding with everyone else's energy out there on the dance floor, and to see that interconnected sea of smiles and those shiny eyes, and to know that everyone's on that same wavelength of nothing else but just being, just really in the moment and in that state of ecstasy, which is that whole shamanic idea of the techniques of ecstasy, to be able to connect with the earth and the tribe in a sacred space. I think that's what's happening in the Doof.